All right, hey, I'm back with Justin Roethlingshoefer, and we have been talking about how to be healthier in 2025. And we've talked about we've got to change our mindset, we've got to change our nutrition habits, and then last, I want to talk about fitness, exercise. So, that's a challenge for so many people, especially busy leaders. Mm-hmm. They say, Mac, I know I need to move, I know I need to exercise, but I'm running a company, or I just planted a brand new church and I am busy. And so what do you say to people who say, man, I know fitness is important, but I'm too busy to integrate it into my life?
We come back to number one, which is mindset.
Mindset.
We come back then to number one, which is mindset. Like whenever I get the concept of I'm too busy, it's not the fact that you're too busy, it's that you don't see the value.
Yeah. Woo.
It's not that you're too busy, it's that you don't see the value.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, what you value, you make time for.
Yes.
And if you don't value it, it's not because you're like, oh, I think fitness is stupid. I think fitness is something that I shouldn't have or don't want. But here's, I think, the way that the enemy works is you've got as a business owner, as a leader, you have a call on your life. You have that burn that you're stepped into. You might have listened to the first episode and been like, I know what that burn feels like. I know what I'm called to do. I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
While at the same time, what the enemy does is perverts that to say, I know that this thing is the tool that you're going to go and carry out that calling with. Mm-hmm. And so the only thing that I can do, because I can't strip you of your calling, all I can do is strip you of your confidence. All I can do is strip you of your time here on earth, because I am going to slowly, monotonously, and incestuously start to decay this thing without you even knowing. And that's what I start to see so often, because you might be a leader out there right now listening to this, or you might be running a business, or you might be even having a family, or you might be running a church. And you've been so on it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, putting in the time, putting in the effort, putting in the hours, grinding it out, because that's what you've been called to do. Wow. But if you were to look in the mirror right now, and remember, this goes back to, this is not about looks. This is not about six-pack abs and muscles. Right. This is about you going and looking in the mirror and going, I'm exhausted when I wake up. I'm exhausted when I go to bed. Yeah. I'm truly starting to hate what I do. I actually am starting to resent what I do.
Yes.
I actually don't want to do it anymore because I feel myself slowly dying inside. Yeah. And there's people that resonate with that, and hopefully this resonates with you, and it can be an awakening moment to say, my gosh, if I don't do something differently, I won't be able to realize my God-given calling. Yeah. If I don't do something different for this tool, my tool will no longer be sharp to be able to step into something, because You talked about something at the very beginning. It was motivation.
Yes. Yeah.
Motivation is fleeting. Motivation comes and goes.
Right.
But when you stepped in and you first started, I'll ask you, when you first started your church, you gave that example of when you had just kind of let yourself kind of go in that way. When you first started your church, did you feel fresh? Did you feel excited? Oh. Did you feel like you were like you could work for hours and just like it would just take you?
I was on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on fire. Yeah.
And you ended up in a place where you were exhausted all the time. Yeah. You probably resented it a little bit.
Yeah.
It pulled you away.
Wanted to quit.
Yep. And it's not just that it was difficult. It was that it was taking a toll on your body.
Yeah.
At any point, did you feel like, man, I truly feel like I'm dying inside?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I did. It was destroying my physical health.
Yep.
I just got this word picture. Let's say that I want to make a trip from Charleston to LA, drive across country. Mm-hmm. Okay. I can take my car. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if I take my car, which is an old beater, I'm going to make it to somewhere in Georgia, and that car's going to break down. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have to stop, spend the night, get it repaired, get back on the road. I might make it to Texas, but that car's going to break down. And I might make it to LA in that car, but it's going to take a long time, and it's not going to be an enjoyable trip because the car is not in the right condition to make that trip.
Yep.
And if I want to go to LA, get me a nice brand new car. I'm going to get one that is built to make that type of trip. Cindy and I hop in that car, and we take our time, and we make a trip across the country, and it's enjoyable. We get to our destination, and we enjoy getting to that destination versus How many people are trying to make it towards God's purpose for their life, but then, oops, got to take a break. I got to go to the hospital. I'm in the hospital. Or, hey, I got to take a break. Doctor told me slow down. Or I got to take a break. I'm just exhausted, or I don't feel good. Or I'm sick all the time. My immune system is just shot. And so I'm sick all the time. And so it's that vehicle. This is the one vehicle to get me to that calling that God has for my life.
Yeah.
Like you said in the first episode, I've got to steward this well.
Yeah. And when you come back to it, you start to look at this thought process of the enemy uses our calling and perverts it in our mind to say, I have to do all or nothing. I have to be all in on this thing. Yeah. And if I'm going to take that excuse that you kind of talked about, was I don't have time, or I'm too busy. It is the stereotypical old age adage that the enemy uses, the same mindset that he uses to ultimately get inside you and be like, no, you stay here, continue to keep going. God's called you to something. You got to do it. If you step away, you're being irresponsible. Yeah. You're not actually stewarding it well. And in fact, it's the exact opposite. Because remember, when we come back to this, you are the vehicle that God is riding in. And yet, I'll tell this story. It's pretty cool. So my neighbor has a beautiful, beautiful Mercedes, and he went out of town. And as he went out of town, he said, hey, my sister's going to come and stay for the weekend. Are you okay with that? I said, yeah, absolutely. And can you just watch and make sure everything's okay? And if she needs anything, just help her out. No problem. Well, her sister has a small son. And as the small son is in the back seat, car seat's there, comes, does his thing. She drives it around the whole time that she's there. And then after the weekend, she flies home. He calls me on a Sunday night, goes, hey, Justin, can you grab my car and come pick me up from the airport? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Well, I stepped into the car, and I looked in the back seat, and there was shoes, there was clothes, there was crushed up cereal, there was, it looked like sticky hands had gone all over the leather and the glass. And I got in, and from how well he kept his car clean meticulously to stepping in and looking at that, I had God say to me, how many of us have been given this brand new, beautiful calling, this brand new, beautiful body, and yet we're expected to go carry Jesus around in something that looks like that. Like, what does this look like? How can we actually steward this better? How can we steward this thing? Because to your example, you're going to start going a certain distance and it's going to shut down on you. You're going to start going a certain way and it's going to ultimately fall short. And that's the enemy's plan. It's literally in the enemy's design. He's like, because again, I go back to what I said in episode 1. This is why it's a mindset thing, is you come back to it, and what you're called for doesn't hold a candle to what you're praying for, but what you're called for, you're just not yet prepared for. And so you're never going to reach what that true potential is, what God's placed on your life, as good and as great and as big as it is, because he can't bless what you don't ultimately decide to change.
And it's so crazy, because here's what I've discovered. People say, I don't have enough time to spend working out. Well, you're not spending time, you're investing time. You're investing time working out. You're investing time in your physical fitness. Because what I've discovered is when I invest 30 minutes to an hour in working out, guess what happens? I get a return on that investment. I feel better. And so there are a lot of times, if I didn't sleep good the night before, and then in the afternoon I might feel a little groggy, I'll go for a walk. I'll walk for 30 minutes to an hour, and when I come back, my brain's lit up. Or I'll go down to the track and I'll do my HIIT sprints, and next thing you know, I'll come back. And I'm like, Cindy, I feel great. And so there's a return on that investment when we make it. But a lot of people never discover that because they're always, I don't have time today. I don't have time today. I don't have time today. I can't spend time on exercise today.
Yeah.
Well, can you invest time in exercise today? Because I guarantee it will bring a return on that investment.
When you actually start to look at different brain scans and you start to look at different brain activation, when you're walking, when you're moving, when you're running, when you're exercising, it's 80% more active.
Yes.
And in the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision-making area of the brain, it's again, I think, closer to 90% more active. And so all of these things,
creativity,
yes, your ability to memorize things, your ability to create, your ability to think, your ability to retain information, all happens at a higher level when you actually start to move, when you start to breathe, when you start to just, again, get into this state of physical movement.
Okay. What are some mistakes people make when it comes to the physical fitness aspect, that exercise aspect?
I mean, number one, they get hung up on a type of workout. It's no different than what I said with nutrition. If your diet has a name for it, it's probably the wrong one for you. And if your exercise has a name for it, it's probably the wrong one for you. It's like not what type of exercise do you have to do. It's not CrossFit. It's not HIIT workouts. It's not long distance running. It's what is going to actually be done by you, and how do we do it well? How do we build something based on what your body actually needs? And I often say to people, you're not overtrained, you're under-recovered. So we have to make sure that we're getting a great balance between what it is that we're doing from a training standpoint and a recovery standpoint. If I was to go and say, hey, to everybody out there right now, just from a general fitness standpoint, what do I need to do in order to optimize and show the best form? Number one, you should be doing something every single day. Every single day. So first off is I would want some form of conditioning. So whether that is a run, whether that is a walk, whether that is something that is going to get your heart rate above 130 beats per minute. And then 5 days a week, I want you doing something that is going to add strength to your body, something that is going to be moving, something progressively and slowly overloading on top of your body. And then thirdly, making sure that we've got at least 2 to 3 days of focused on flexibility, something that is going to get in the old stretch side of things that that will create that for you.
Wish somebody would have told me that when I was in my 20s and 30s. Because in my 60s, I'm a little stiff, and so starting to work on that. So.
Something every single day, and I think that it's something that people don't really lean into. They don't really glean into. They don't take that thought process well.
Talk to me about different measurements. You recommended I get the Whoop. And I went through your website, and I know there was like a little discount code there. And we'll get that from you at the end. But I have loved this thing. It tells me all kinds of information about my health each day. And it actually, on the app, it has a Whoop coach. And so I can ask it questions, and the AI Whoop coach will give me answers. It's like having a fitness coach on your wrist every day. It's been phenomenal. But what are some of those measures that somebody should look for if they have an Oura Ring or if they have a Whoop? Or I think Apple Watch even tracks some things. What are some of those key metrics that we should look for?
I mean, there's three. You're going to look at heart rate variability, which heart rate variability is really looking at how your body is adapting to stress and strain. So how is your body recovering from the things that you're doing, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? Number two is sleep quality. So how great is the sleep quality that you're getting? How is it? Are you getting into the stages of REM and slow wave sleep that are actually going to get you to the desired level of recovery that's necessary? And then number three is looking at VO2 max. And VO2 max looks at how efficient is your body at utilizing oxygen. And once you know how well you're utilizing oxygen, how efficient you are, you're going to be able to really step in and start to personalize your exercise routine much more specifically. The other thing that why I love Whoop, and whether it's a heart rate monitor, whether it's a Garmin, whether it's an Oura Ring, is we can actually start to see the different zones that you're starting to train in. So cardiovascularly, are you getting enough zone 2, which is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate? Are you getting into zone 5 enough, which is 90 to 100% of your max heart rate? So really starting to specialize and personalize what you're experiencing and what you're going into, so that we can really, again, get the outcomes for the time that we're investing.
Yeah. One of the things I've learned with the Whoop is I was investing time in my fitness. I was investing time in my sleep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started seeing the numbers.
Yeah.
So for example, I told you I walk, I walk 5 miles a day every day. And I walk pretty briskly because I heard somebody say, if you walk briskly, you'll get in zone 2 cardio. And so I thought, I'm getting my zone 2 every day. Well, come to find out, I'm in zone 0 when I'm walking briskly. And I had no idea. So all this time I thought I was hitting zone 2 cardio, and I haven't been at all until I learned to measure. And so that's been massive.
I'd say data drives decisions, and data determines direction.
Yes.
And so many of us are just walking blindly. We would never make business decisions without knowing the numbers. We would never start putting more funding towards a marketing channel. We would never double down on a product if we didn't have validation through the data and the numbers that were coming in. We would never make a real estate purchase without knowing the numbers before, inside and out. But yet, with this tool that we've been given, with this vessel that we've been given, we're just good with whatever. We're just happy just to be alive and happy just to go show up and do something random. And so until you have that same level of intentionality with what you're doing and how you're living, don't expect the outcomes that you're looking for. Because I always say, when you combine intentionality with consistency over the course of time, the results are inevitable.
Wow. All right. Final word to wrap this up. What encouragement would you give folks that are listening about optimizing their health and taking on this challenge and, becoming a brand new version of themselves that they would love to see?
Number one is that you're not broken. I know there's somebody probably listening that has tried stuff before, has felt discouraged before, might be listening to this and go like, oh my gosh, this sounds like so much. It feels like an overhaul. I'm never going to be able to get there. I'm never going to be able to actually feel this. You have to hear that you're not broken. You have to know that you were created to function and thrive. And number three is that you were created to live this way. The way that you're living now is actually more difficult than if you were able to submit and just obey and do something a little bit different. But it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and it's going to take getting around people that are willing to live differently, that different is their normal. And when different is their normal, that will ultimately rub off on you and start to change how you are so that different becomes yours.
All right, incredible. Hey, you have a book, The Power of Ownership, and people can find that where? Pretty much anywhere?
Anywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, best places to grab that. Okay.
Tell us about your company and what's the website and how can people follow you?
Yeah, Own It has been really on a mission to empower, equip, and educate business leaders to take ownership of their health and realize life in a different way. Really just being kind of like your holistic ecosystem when you look at using data to drive decisions, making sure we get appropriate testing so we can start to personalize it, and then encapsulating you with your entire health coaching team. So you've got your functional medicine doc, you've got your health coach, your registered dietitian, your strength coach, and your mental performance coach all in one place, looking in the same direction. So we no longer become this sage from the stage, like your typical medical system of just telling you what to do and leaving you on your own, but we become a guide from the side to walk with you that integrates mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and throws out the Flexnar report from 1909 and redefines what healthcare should actually look like.
And the website?
Ownitcoaching.com.
Ownitcoaching.com. All right. Man, thank you so much for joining me on this. This has been fantastic. I hope you guys have found value in this. There's a lot of wisdom, but make sure you follow Justin and go check out his website as well.